Happy Friday to you all. Happy Friday. Happy 1st of September as well. We are just approaching the autumn time and the fall time, and I don't know about you, but I absolutely cannot wait. I love the summertime. I love the heat. I love the drinks in the garden. I love all of that. But I absolutely love the autumn time. I love the oranges, I love the browns, I love the leaves on the floor and on the ground as well. Cozy with the jumper, with the film on and candles on, Yankee Candle, of course. I just love all of that. And I'm really in that autumn mood. So if you are watching round about the time as I post this, the 1st of September, you will know I am currently off this week on a little break, a little holiday. Not up to much, just pottering about, recharging the batteries. But I've just had that creative itch. I've been dabbling about in my craft room over the past week because next week I'm going home to Scotland for a few days. I am back on Crafters TV on Monday, and although I don't have shows Tuesday, Wednesday, technically I am back at work. I'll have prep and all that to do, and then I've got another couple of days off, the Thursday, Friday into the weekend, and I'm going home next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That is, of course, if you are watching this round about the 1st of September. If you're watching this after 1st of September, if you're watching it in actual fact, if you're watching this late on into September time, October time, all this will absolutely make no sense to you whatsoever. But yes, it is... The creative flow has been flowing, and going back to Scotland next week, I've had to do a couple of special family and friends cards. So I have been in my craft room, but not doing anything on work basis or for my social pages, because I thought just take a nice little break, recharge the batteries, recharge the brain, recharge the body. But then I wanted to do something. So I thought, right, let's do a video. I did make a card the other day and I really liked it. So I thought, let's recreate that, but we'll do it in autumn colours, and I'll film it. Spend a lovely Friday morning just with you guys filming this for my YouTube channel. And then of course that just means, well, I can't quite say it's going to get that crafty itch out the way, because I'll just want to get creative all weekend. But I thought, let's do that. I couldn't leave yous out. I felt so bad, so guilty leaving you out in the lurch for the past week. So it's lovely to do a little video for you guys. So the card that I done was actually a 7x7 thank you card. And I've done it with the pinks and the glitters, and I am going to recreate exactly what I've done, but we're going to switch it. We're going to do oranges, we're going to do coppers, we're going to do browns as well. So it could be, of course, a thank you card for whatever reason when it comes to family or friends. Or I know here in England, most of the schools go back next week. Scotland, they went back a couple of weeks ago, give or take, of course. So I thought, let's just make it. You can adapt it to whatever card that you want. You can change the sentiment. Doesn't have to be a thank you card, but what I have done is done a little bit of mixed media in here as well, going in with our glitter paste, going in with our sparkle pens, etc. So this is what I had done. So we're going in with a lovely thank you card. So we've gone in with the thanks. So I've gone in with the shedless glitter. I've gone in with my Silver Moon glitter paste. I've also then gone in with some sparkle pens. But we are going to do this once again, but we're going to do it with the oranges. We're going to do it with the coppers. Recreate it, the same layout, but just change the colour. So it's going to work really well for maybe an autumnal thanks that you want to give. We're going to go in with this die here. Now, in all honesty, I think this may have been an HSN exclusive. I think this might be a range of sentiments that they commissioned us to do just for them. So it might not be a sentiment that's widely available out with you guys that are in the United States. But you can then just come along with any of your other sentiment dies, which reminds me, I do need to get that sentiment out. Now, I am doing this, as I said, on Friday, the 1st of September. I'm doing this while I'm taking a little break. So this is why you've got the comfies, you've got the red face, no makeup, no nothing, all natural. And that's the way that you're going to be getting me. So as you can see, when I'm not on Crafters TV or Hobby Maker or QVC UK, this is what I look like. It's amazing what makeup can do. I absolutely now know why girls and a lot of guys like to wear makeup on a daily basis. I'm not going to go down that route, but I can see why they like to wear makeup on a daily basis. So that's why you've got me like this and in my comfies. And of course, well, we're going into autumn, so nice, cosy. So let me get my sentiment. I just need to dig it out. I need to remember which one that it's in. So let me find, here we go. So I will show you where they were from, the set originally from. So for you guys stateside, you can get familiar with them. I want to say they came out originally when we brought out the Gemini Pro big machine. So these are the range that they came from. So as I say, I'm not very sure if they were available outside the US of A. But I'm going to use these ones anyway because that's what I've used within this finished card. So I'm going to set them there just now. And then we're going to get started with this one. So the only thing I have pre-done is I've already done my glitter paste layer to let that dry. We're still going to do it, but then I'm going to bring in the one that I have already let dry. So we're going to go in with our dots. So we're going to go in with our dots, which came from, funny enough, Spots and Dots. So this is the one that we're going to be using, and we're going to be using the large 7x7 or 8x8. So what I am going to do is I've got my watercolour card. I'm using my watercolour card because I'm going to do a little bit of water technique when it comes to the sparkle pen. So all that I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this down to 7x7. I will end up trimming it a little bit more, but at least for now it's better to have it bigger than too small. So let me just zoom out that a little bit more. So let's go in with our stencil. As I always say, you can come along with things such as your repositionable spray if you want, but I do just love to use my stencil tape because then I can come along and I put a layer at the top first of all. That creates a little bit of a hinge for me and just a little bit at the bottom just to secure it. And the good thing with something like dots and the technique that we're going for, we don't need it to be straight. It could be at any angle, and the way that we're going to apply it, we want it to be uneven. We don't want it to be nice and parallel and symmetrical. So we're going to go in with our silver moon. So let's go in with my silver moon here, and I've got my little spatula here. Now if you don't have something like a little spatula, you know, you can go in with an old gift card that's not been used, something like that. And then what we can then do is then we can then take in, I'm just wondering if I've got an old gift card that I can use just to show. Actually, let me go and have a look, see if I've got an old gift card. Because with this one, if you haven't seen any of my YouTube videos, I don't edit them. What I film gets posted. So if I run out to go and get something, if I make a mistake, if I babble too long, whatever it is, you get it in all natural form. No edits, no retakes, no nothing. So where I'm away to go and have a look at this gift card, if you are watching the video, I'm going to be back in a second. No edit, no nothing, no jump to. It's going to stay like this till I come back. But I am literally only going to be about a minute because I know where I think I've got one. Found one, which I knew that I had, which happens to be a old Build-A-Bear gift card for a Build-A-Bear that I bought a couple of years ago for a friend, and I've still got the card, membership card, whatever it is that they gave me. Anyway, the whole purpose of that is if you don't have something like a spatula, then if you've got something like a plastic gift card that you're wanting to use up, or you know, just try and be environmentally friendly and reuse what you've got. Then of course you can come along with something like this. So let's go back over ahead. Now is this going to fit? Which it will do. So let's just go in, and then what we can then start to do is we can then start to go along and apply this on. So we're going to get a nice coverage because it is a flat surface, and then all that I'm going to do is then just spread over the top. In actual fact, I think I like the application with a solid gift card like this. It's nice and smooth and you get a really good scrape afterwards. Now I'm not going to go all the way around the edges because I want it to be sort of uneven. So we're going to go in and let's just take all that excess off, scrape all that off. I am just going to then kind of go in and make sure it all goes in the pot. So there is my gift card use. It says it's a £10 one. I hope it's still not active. Otherwise, well, I've just used it. No, it won't be because it's a good, I don't know, it's about 4 years old or something like that. Anyway, I'm going to take all that excess off so I can keep using it. I'm going to put that next to my glitter pastes. And then what I can then do is take this off, go along, take the top off, lift. And in all honesty, I think going forward, when I apply my glitter paste, I'm going to be using an old gift card. So we can see that's a look that I've gone for. But what I am also then going to have to do is I'm going to let that there dry. I'm going to have to come back a second while I pop that in the sink. I don't have a bath. So, all that I've done is I've just sat that in the sink because the last thing that I want is for any of the glitter to then dry onto my stencils because it makes it really hard to come off. Christmas mug and everything. You can tell I'm really getting into that autumn feel. Let's bring in our next one. So this is the one that I've already dried and I've cut that down to 6x6. Is it the size originally? No, I need to trim it a little bit more. So I've gone for that uneven look and I'm going to trim this down. Now, because I've gone for this kind of natural uneven look, I'm going to chop this down to 5.5 inches. So I need to take ½ an inch off. Now I don't want to take just ½ an inch off there and ½ an inch off there. So I'm going to make it even and I'm going to take ¼ inch off all the way around. So I'm going to go in, and now that still makes it nice and even all the way around. I'm going to come in with some of my black cardstock. So I'm just going to use my black matte card for this. And then what I can then do is I can come along. Oh gosh, look at that. Reflection, that glaze. I'm going to come along and do my mats and layers before I start to do a little bit of inky technique. What I'm then also going to do, let's zoom out a little bit, to make sure that my layer is nice and straight. My black matte cardstock isn't quite straight. So I'm just trimming it off the edges just to make sure it's nice and straight. And my glitter layer is 5.5 by 5.5. So usually I would come up ¼ inch, which I am going to do for now. So I've got ¼ inch matte and layer all the way around. But I don't want it to be quite deep. So I'm going to trim maybe about 2 mils off. And then just going to bring this one in. And then I've got my nice black matte and layer. So what I'm also then going to do is bring in my card blank. And my card blanks that I've got here are bang on 7x7. I had some that weren't quite 7x7, but these ones are. So let's go in with a bit of copper here. So I'm going to go in with a copper shedless glitter card. And let's take, is that going to, well, I think I'll just have enough within that one. I can use this. So let's take that one out. Let's pop that back in here. And then what I'm then going to do is, how much can I get away with? So 6.5 by 6.5, that's perfect. So my glitter layer is 6.5 by 6.5 inches. So for my black layer, I'm going to just trim to make sure my edges are nice and straight again. And I'm going to do what I've done before. I'm going to come up 1/4 inch. So let's go 6 3/4 by 6 3/4. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim a couple of millimeters. This is going to give me a finer matting layer. So you can see I've got my fine black matting layer. And in actual fact, I could get away with doing it just that tiny little bit finer. Maybe taking off about a mil, maybe not even a mil. Just to give me a nice fine layer, which I've got. So we can see that. And then that's going to go in here. That you can see, so you can kind of see where we're going, where I've gone in with the pinks within that layer, recreating exactly what I've done, but we're going to go down the autumnal colours. So let me get my bits of cardstock all tidied. Let's just come in face on for now. And in actual fact, what I think I could also do when it comes to that layer that I've just done with the black onto my glitter kind of polka dots, I can make that just a tad bit finer as well, just a little bit, because I am into, as much as I love my mats and layers 1/4 inch, I am very much at the moment loving giving myself a really fine matting layer, and this is how I do it. Still cut to 1/4 inch, but then I trim afterwards. So that one, I can just take a tiny little bit more off there. And then there we go, yep. Happy with that. So let me move that out the way for now. I'm just going to move that way, because my overhead seems to have moved ever so slightly. And let's get those reflection of the lights out the way. So we've got our layers here. So there's my layers starting to come into shape. So what I'm going to do is solar red. I don't want solar red. I want Harvest Moon. So I'm going to go in with the Harvest Moon sparkle pen, and I need to come in if I've got enough water in there. Let me just, forgot to top up my water. So I've got some water in here. This, by the way, because I use my Spectrum Noir water spritz quite a lot, what I've done is I've taken an old cleaning bottle, which was, I think it was a coconut one, and once I'd finished it, I'd given it a really, really good clean out, and then I've just filled it with water, so now I've got a bigger water spritz bottle. So let me just clean these couple of brushes here, because I might need one of them. So let's just clean that off and then dry that. And then let's go on to our glass mat here. So I'm going to go in with the glass mat. Let's give my sparkle pen a nice shake first. Now what will happen is it's not going to quite go into all the nooks and crannies, because you've got that little bit of height when it comes to the glitter paste. So we're going to have to give it a helping hand with our water brush or our paintbrush. So let's just go in, dab this onto my glass mat, give myself a nice good coverage. I'm then just going to dab my paintbrush into a little bit of water so I've got it ready, and then let's just spritz with my water. I'm then going to come in and then let's just dab in. Now the glitter paste is then going to resist any of the colour. Now you might get a light bit of colorization onto your glitter paste, but you see what I mean, it's hard to get into all the nooks and crannies. So what we do is we just make sure we get as much as we can, and then I just like to go in with my paintbrush, and then I just like to go in and give that a nice little helping hand, push it about that we can see just into here, push it and then dab it. What I'm going to do is I don't want to waste any of that, so let's just take this excess, because that's a nice light colour layer for me for now. So let's just take all this off. Maybe added a little bit too much water, but hey ho, it's still going to work for a lovely background at a later point. So let's take that off. So I'm going to set that to the side and I can let that dry and use that at another point. What I am just then going to do is then come along and then I'm just going to take all that excess off. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to come in with my sparkle pen, because I want to have these darker areas and bits. I'm just going to go in and dab. Now the water, because the water's still wet, is going to help pull it out and make it that little bit more natural looking. But with my dry brush, I'm just going to go in and help in little areas. Come along and then darken it. So just kind of stippling it. And then if I want to come in and add a little bit more dark, I can do it. A little bit more dark, dark, dark. I can do it up in these areas as well. Remember, that was the Harvest Moon that I've used. And then push and probe. What I'm then going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit of kitchen roll or tissue roll or paper, and then I'm going to come take some of it off, because what I'm going to do is add to that different layer. Because it's hard to get the different layer combination look with the glitter paste that's dry, that's then kind of stopping us get to all the different layers. What I'm then just going to do is into these lighter parts here, because I don't want to take away the dark parts that I've just added. I want to just take off some of the lighter parts. What I'm then just going to also do as well is in some of the areas just lift off over the top. That's then just going to take off some of the glitter paste, take off some of the colour that's been sitting on the silver glitter paste. So we can still see the silver coming through. So then we've got the different layers. We've got some light layers, we've got some medium layers, we've got some dark layers, but we're going to intensify that just shortly with one of our acrylic pens. So what I'm then going to do is let's dry this one off for now. I'm going to pop my paintbrush back in its water and then just give that a helping hand. Usually I tend to let things dry at room temperature, let it dry naturally, but for this I am just going to then dry off. So work it back and forwards with our heat tool. And that really starts to show that mottled background with the different layers of the orange of the Harvest Moon. You're going to get the glisten from your glitter paste, and then you're going to get that light sparkle from our sparkle pen. So once we've got all of that, what we can do is we can see that look there. I'm going to come in with my acrylic pens. So we're going to go in with the orange. So the orange acrylic pen. So this one being the orange really. Yeah, orange. So let's give that a shake so that we can get that incredible acrylic paint moving. And then we're going to apply this kind of like in two ways. So I'm going to come in with another object here. So let's just come in with one of my classic pens. Let's go in a little bit further as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap. That's going to give me light little specks. So let's just get that going again. So I know it's very, very hard for you to see on camera, but I've got really, really light orange specks. I don't know if I can kind of capture any of these light little specks, but I've got them there. And then what I'm also then just going to do is just going to come in with light dots and dabs, and then before that dries I'm just going to give that a light little rub in. So this is now going to give us even more depth to the colour layers. I'm not worried too much if it goes onto my glitter circles. We're just going to go in, I can take some of that off. And it's as if we're kind of then going along and dry brushing. So taking the colour off there and then going over the top. Now if you do this sort of dry brushing technique now, and of course the acrylic paints will start to colour or cover in colour your silver glitter dots, but it still works an absolute treat. It really, really does. So if we want to come in with a few more heavier dots, so for this one what I'm just doing is I'm going in between the silver glitter dots and pumping a few times so that I can get some of that paint marker coming all the way through. That I'm then just going to leave. Some of them I might actually lightly just rub in, like so. So we've got that feel, that look, lots of depth there. Light, medium, dark, strong, subtle, bold. You've got smoothness, you've got brush strokes, you've got all these layers going on. You've got the combination of your white framework all the way around as well. So I'm really, really happy with that. And in actual fact, I am just going to go in with one layer extra. And that one is our iced silver. So for this one, I do this into my bin because I don't have a cardboard box or that to do it in. I should get a cardboard box or something. So all that I'm going to do is I just set it into my bin. Light little sparkle, or spritz should I say. I'm going to bring that one back in. And then what I am going to do is give it a light blast. So we're really, really intensifying the shimmer, the glitter, the sparkle in with this layer here. So start to heat set that. And then what that does is that gives your silver glitter dots a light frosting, which is quite cool. So you can start to see that layer coming together. You've got the texture feel to it as well. So let's come along. And then once I've done most of that drying with my heat tool, I'm just going to set it to the side because we can do all our additional die cuts before we move on. As you can see, loving that. Love that. So what I am then doing is I ran out of wipes, so let's just give that a light spritz with my water, which will do, and take all that excess off. Really need to give my glass mat a proper clean. And then let's go in with some more of our black cardstock. So if I then, I'm just trying to zoom out that little bit. What I'm then going to do is come in with the black cardstock, and let's come in with the thanks die. Now these come with the stamps as well, which I haven't used. I'm just using the die on its own. And you've got the sentiment die, and then you've also then got your matte and layer die. 2 mattes and layer dies actually. So for this one I'm going to use the main sentiment die and then the larger outer matte and layer die. I don't want that mid one because I don't actually want 3 mattes and layers, which for me to say that is quite unusual because I do love my mattes and layers. And what I'm actually thinking, if we go back to the original, I die cut that in white. Now I'm still going to die cut it in white, but then what about as well the layer that we've done earlier? Let me dry that off. That'd be a nice way to tie them both. Actually, I know what I can do. I am going to what's the word? Deviate from my original plan ever so slightly. Divert, maybe is more the word, from my original plan ever so slightly. So let's take that one and dry it off, which then gives us our layer here. What I'm then going to do is come in with my white multi-purpose that I've got just to the side of me here. So I've got my white multi-purpose, and then I'm going to come along so that can be cut within my white. And then let's take that large outer layer. Is that going to... Oh, look at that. Don't you just love it when that sort of thing just fits? It just fits. So let's take... I'm trying to still use up my washi tape. So let's tape that one in. And actually the washi tape that I'm using up is Autumnal, so I could actually get away with it. I've got a tiny little butterfly which was from one of our original Gemini mini element dies. It's from Floral Bouquet. Now if you've got your timeless butterfly, you can use some of them. So let's layer these ones up on my plate. Now I've not got a camera set up for overhead for this one. Didn't really feel that we would need it because there's not lots of die cutting, and then I'll need to die cut a few of the little butterflies, but we can do that within our Gemini mini. So here is our main outline die. There's a little butterfly we can sit to the side. Take that one off, and then there is our thanks. So let's sit that in front just now. What I'm then going to do is let's take a little corner here. I'm going to do it into the corner because I can be using all that elsewhere another time. So I'm going to pop that in. And then, just because I'm running it through, the additional butterflies that I'll need shortly are maybe about 8 of the Gemini. 8? I'll need about 8 butterflies die cut into black. So I may as well do one of them while we're running it through our Gemini. The rest of them, what we'll just do is we'll do it within the mini, as I said beforehand. So what I'm then going to do is let's take that butterfly out for now and set that one out the way. I'll keep that tape because we can use that. And then come along with this. So my thinking as to when I was diverting ever so slightly away from my original plan is I do love a drop shadow. So I was thinking I could always do either white underneath, or we can change it. Oh, I think I like the white on the top with the orange in the back. Yeah, I like that. So, while we're here, let's just do that. So I've got my tacky glue, and we're just going to go over the back with my tacky glue. I was going to use my double-sided adhesive sheets for this, but I'm glad that I didn't, because as much as I love my double-sided adhesive sheets, they are an instant stick. So now that I've decided to do a drop shadow, it means I've got that wiggle room. So I'm just going to come in, and then we're just going to add, let's bring in Pokey tool just to help move that into place. Let's move that one in, and then that one can then go into there. That one can go into there. If I bring in that little bit black, hopefully you can start to see. I'm just going to put my hand there at the side there, because it just helps settle the reflection of the light. Well, it did do, but you can kind of see where we're going for there. We're going to have that light orange drop shadow. Let's just move that down ever so slightly. That's it. So when that one, actually I could have just done that to show you, couldn't I? So now that we've got that one there, let me then attach that onto my layer. So let's add my glue once again. Now on this layer, we could have gone in with our double-sided adhesive sheets. So let's work our way around. And then we can nestle that into the middle. And then also just nestle that into play. Hold that in and press. Just press. Just to make sure that that grabs. That's then grabbing. And let's just make sure, after all that grabbing, I've not pulled it out of where it needs to go. There we go. Happy with that. So now with having that light little orange drop shadow, that's just going to help pull in from the front all the way to the back into our orange layer. So that's that one and that's that one. So let's come in now with our mini and my extras black. So this is, once again, if I refer back to you see what I'm doing in real time. So I need 8 of these ones. Now, I've already done one, of course. And now there's another one. So therefore, I need another 6. So feel free to skip until I've done all these butterflies. Feel free to stay with me because I will just chatter away. I'm not going to leave you without any sound. It's going to take no time at all because there's now my 4th one already. By popping these ones out. And then if I'd done these in a nice order, this bit of scrap black cardstock I could have used as a stencil, or I could even have used it as an additional layer for a card front, as a aperture silhouette feel. So let's work that one in, and pop that one. And although I'm using my black matte cardstock, think about things such as your Centura Pearl would look gorgeous. Your Shedless Glitter card would look beautiful. Your Hunkydory black mirror card, mirror card, would look sublime. That's all the butterflies I need to. Quick. So yeah, if you used, I'm trying to think. Oh, I do think I've got, no, I'm not away to go and recut all these butterflies, by the way. But if I reach to my, no, this isn't their mirror, this is just like a pearl black card. Have we got, no, I've not got black to hand. I do have black mirror card from Hunkydory up there, but it's at the back, but I'm not going to waste your time by trying to haul it all out for the sake of just showing you. Right, let's take all these layers now. So we're going to come in with these layers here and we're going to start to assemble them. So let's assemble these. So for this one, because we've got a lot of dried layers, and you know it's dry, the cardstock has been wet, it's been saturated with the sparkle pen. What I am then going to do is I'm just going to go in with my tacky glue, and then that can go right into the middle like so, and then I'm just going to manoeuvre that slightly. So 2 things you need to keep in mind when it comes to your cardstock. After you have done a water technique and dried, it can disshape. And that goes for when you emboss your cardstock with an embossing folder. You may cut it to, let's say, 5x7 exact. But when you run it through an embossing folder, because certainly a 3D embossing folder, all that cardstock is then being kind of stretched and pushed into all the nooks and crannies, then that cardstock that's been pushed into the design, it's got to come from somewhere. So therefore your original 5x7 piece of cardstock can then shrink ever so slightly, and not in a natural form, you know, so it could be on a little bit of a jaunty angle, so therefore keep that in mind. But it's the same with your cardstock. You wet it, then of course the fibres then just relax, it can then just start to spread out ever so slightly, and then you come along, let it dry, let it dry naturally, or certainly with a heat gun. What happens is the fibres then start to recalculate together, and then therefore your cardstock doesn't necessarily dry within the original shape that you cut it to. So I can see from this one here, although I'd cut it to 5.5 by 5.5, it is ever so slightly dried out of shape. So therefore my black matten layer, which was a perfect square, now looks a little bit uneven. So all that I do is I just cut my black cardstock to meet the size of my glitter paste layer. So we've now got that nice and framed within the black layer. We're then going to come in with our shedless glitter card, and let's go in with our double-sided tape. If this is maybe the very first video of mine that you are watching, maybe you've not seen me on CTV or that, my go-to adhesive when I've got time is my double-sided tape. The very, 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 very first crafting items I ever bought on QVC UK was a Forever Friends decoupage kit and a Stix2 adhesive kit, which had double-sided tape in there. And since day one, I've used double-sided tape, and this is Stix2's double-sided tape. I always use it when I've got time to craft for myself, or even when I prep my demos. When I've got a little bit extra time to spend on my demos, then I use my double-sided tape. It's always my go-to. So even although on air or that, you might see me using something like our tape runners or that, which are the best tape runners, my choice is always my double-sided tape, and then my tacky glue would be separate. So what I'm then going to do, I'm going to just push the blind ever so slightly, and then let's go in and layer that one on. So I've now got my lovely layer. You could come along and gut the centre of that if you want to, but we're then going to come in with our next layer here. I'm going to add my foam pads to this. These foam pads that I'm using are 2 mil in depth, and that reason being is because I'm going to add foam pads onto the back of this as well. So let's go into there and add my foam pads onto there. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to then take these off. Now, as much as I love dry adhesive, so my preferred adhesive for flat layer when it comes to dry is our double-sided tape, which is a dry adhesive. When it comes to lift and height, my preferred adhesive that you know by now is foam pads, which is a dry adhesive. Now, the only thing with a dry adhesive on something like a texture surface, for instance shedless glitter card, they don't always work hand in hand. They don't always like each other, and therefore over time, if the card is sitting up or the project's sitting up, the layer can then start to slowly drop off. Now, you can be using your glue gel if you want to instead of your foam pads. I still like my foam pads, but what I do is I then put a light layer of my tacky glue. The tacky glue will dry into the sponge of the foam pads, and then it will also dry into all of the grains of the shedless glitter card. So therefore it's going to stop any of the layers falling off. So I do that with any textured layer. But what it also does is the foam pad at the moment, it gives me that instant stick, so I can still work away with it, use it, decorate it and post it. But then what happens slowly over time is, not even slowly, quite quickly, the tacky glue will then adhere into all of the layers. What we're then going to do is then we're going to come along and take the backing off of these ones, and then that can go over the top. Now, in the same form of what I've explained there, I'm going to do the same for 2 reasons. One, because I've got my dried glitter paste on here as well, but this was also on porous surface. It was wet at one point, so therefore I'm just going to go in just so that it can dry into the grains of the glitter card and the watercolour card make it strong and sturdy. And once again, move it about, decorate it, post it, I can do what I want, and that foam pad is going to be instant, and then my glue is then going to start to dry. We can come in with our little butterflies now, and what I'm going to do is I want to have them going up in one direction. So I'm going to go in, I think I've maybe miscalculated my butterflies. I think I need another 2, because I like to have odd numbers. So I'm going to go in with 5 of them here, and I do position them on first. So let's just have a little play. And I do like it so that they're going in different directions, but then they're still fluttering up in the same way. So that's them ones, and I need another 2 butterflies. So let's come in with this one as if it's coming out of there. And then that one can go there. That one can go there. This white one is actually going to go within the middle just here. So let's bring back in my mini. Let's come back in with a bit of card. And we're going to be able to be frugal and use what I've got left over there. When there's a will, there's a way. As if I don't have enough black cardstock, but hey, it's nice to use up what we've got. So there's one more, and then another one here, and then that's going to give me my 5 black and my 1 white. So let's go, let's take that off into here, and let's bring that one back in there, and then that one can go there. Yes, happy with that. So let's go back to the first one. A little bit of tacky glue. I like to bend the wings up so we've got movement, and then I'm going to press, and then we can go into the next one. Just do a light little line, and then that one can then go on into place. Hold it in with my pokey tool, lift the wings, another light line there, lift the wings, and then I'm going to come into that one, and we're going to then lightly lift the wings. I like to lift, layer, and then hold down with my pokey tool and then lift again. So then therefore if any of the glue does start to seep out or seep into the fibres of the cardstock, then at least your wings are in the position you want them to be. That one I'm actually just going to turn in ever so slightly, that we can see just here. So with that one, actually I'm going to go in that way. That makes it more satisfying. So I've got that's going that way, that's going that way, that's going a little bit to the side, that one's going in, that one's going in. So you've kind of got that natural uneven flow. So lift the wings, pop it down, hold with pokey tool, and then lift the wings again. So lift the wings, which I'm doing in my hand, and then just going to press with my pokey tool, lift the wings. We're then just going to go in, and we're just doing exactly the same for the remaining ones. And then if you really wanted to carry on with that sparkle effect, you know, you could maybe come along with your clear sparkle overlay with some of the butterflies. I do still believe there is always, and this is just my opinion, and I know it's not the opinion of everyone else, and a lot of people will disagree, I do still feel as though you can get too much sparkle. Now, even although a clear sparkle overlay would be nice, I think for me, for this one, because it's the black, and clear sparkle overlay looks stunning on black, I just want to take away from this backdrop here. I want the sparkle to be in the background. So then the background is just as much important as to the foreground. We're then just going to go in with the white. So the butterfly white on white sentiment. It's just making it, it's one of those that you might not necessarily see the butterfly at first, and then you'll notice it and you'll go, oh, there's a little white butterfly within the middle. And you could see, you know, that as well, although this is 7x7, that could be easily trimmed down to 6x6. You could trim it down smaller if you want. These edges still protruding out of the edges would still work really, really well. What I'm then going to do is let's go in with, now where are they? Bear with me. I moved my gems and pearls and all that out of the way. So this is my Hunkydory lot, and I want the black ones. So I want the black, and what I'm going to do, I've got enough of the black here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, I do. So what I'm going to do is along here, and if you've watched me before, you'll know I always say this, no matter how incredible the quality of self-adhesive gems and pearls are, for instance, you know, Hunkydories are incredible, but I will always add some tacky glue onto the base. Always. Doesn't matter what brand it is, I'll always do that. So I'm using their medium and small black pearls, and the only reason I'm doing medium, small, medium is that's all that I've got enough for. I don't really want to use any of the larger ones, so therefore if I had all medium I would use all medium, if I had all small I would use all small, but I want 3, so this is why I'm doing medium, small, medium. And then that is done. Let's do what I always like to do. I'm telling you, my guillotine takes an absolute bashing at the sight of me. Let's not forget our insert. Now, although at this moment in time I don't know who I'd be giving it to, but I still like to add my matte and layer insert. So it's 7x7. So I usually, whatever the size of my card blank is, so that's 7x7, what I tend to do is I tend to come down an inch. So my main black matte and layer is going to be 6x6, and then my inner matte and layer then will of course be 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. So I can still come along afterwards and I can stamp onto this, or I can then print out a verse and insert and then attach it onto this layer. Of course I can write onto it. I just always like to finish my card with a blank matte and layer insert, so that as soon as I know who it's going to go to, I can either, for instance, this being a thanks, you don't really need anything, because of course you're just going to write in the middle what you're thankful for. But I at least know if I am wanting to then stamp something specific, or I want to come along with a printed verse, or maybe come in with one of our verses from our verse pads, then I can do that. So let's take these ones off, and then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put my cup to the back just now because I don't want to squash any of my butterflies by laying down. Let's go into the back there. So it's now ready for me to write, stamp, whatever I want in there. And then there we go. We've got our 7x7 thank you card. As I said a moment ago, it could be 6x6, it could be even a bit smaller if you want to. But we've incorporated a little bit of mixed media where we've done our glitter paste. So we've done our Silver Moon glitter paste. Showed you how you can use an old gift card to then use it as a spatula. Let that dry, and then we've used our Harvest Moon orange sparkle pen and used that to build up the layers. Then we've gone in with our orange acrylic paint and then helped build up that layer as well, doing a little bit of brush lettering. Used our thanks sentiment, die cut that, done a drop shadow, and then used our tiny little butterflies to add that little flourishing detail. And then the actual shedless glitter card was the copper shedless glitter card, and the black cardstock was the black matte card. So going in with what I had done originally when I was having a little dabble in my craft room the other day, really liked that idea and thought, I know, let's do a little video for you to follow along if you want. But then I thought, with this being the 1st of September, so if you're watching it round about the 1st of September 2023, you might be watching this on the 30th of May 2031. But as it stands at the moment, this is the 1st of September 2023. So I thought, let's recreate that, but let's go for a little bit of an autumnal vibe with the oranges. And that's what we've just done there. So two exactly the same cards. The only difference is I've done a drop shadow with that waist of my Harvest Moon. And then we can see there, that's how they look. Both of these ones together, 7x7, but could equally be smaller if you want. And then there we go. Hopefully you like that. I hope you enjoyed this little video as well. If you do, if you've not already, hit that bell, the notification, so you'll be notified when I post a little tuition video. And then of course you can then follow. Hit the bell. What's the other one? Hit the bell and give me a thumbs up. That's what it is. Give me a thumbs up. That would be great to see. But then there we go. As I say, hopefully I needed to have my little crafty fix, as it is, although I'm off on annual leave this week, I just needed to get my little crafty fix in. And when it comes to me doing these in my own time, you get me all natural in my comfies. No, I've got skincare on, but no, you didn't need to know that anyway. No makeup, no nothing, all natural on what is a very, dull autumnal 1st of September. Anyway, hope you have a lovely weekend if you are watching this round about the 1st of September. I hope you are well. Until the next time, I will see you again with another video very soon, no doubt. We'll see you then. Bye.